Buenos días. Soy la señora Cano. ¿Cómo están? ¿Están bien? Espero que sí. Today we have something very special for you. We're going to have a look at some of the holidays which are celebrated in many Spanish-speaking countries. I think that you'll really enjoy it. Pero primero, alumnos, vamos a cantar. Buenos días, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, muy bien. Ahora, alumnos, vamos a repasar los días de la semana. Los días de la semana. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. And for an even more fun way to review, vamos a cantar. Hay 7 días en una semana, nos vamos a nombrar. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. Bien. Now, before we look at some of the holidays celebrated in many Spanish-speaking countries, we want to go over the months of the year with our song because each of the holidays we'll learn about falls in a particular month of the year. Vamos a cantar. Enero, febrero, marzo y abril, mayo y junio y julio también, agosto, septiembre, octubre ya llegó, noviembre, diciembre, el año ya acabó. Muy bien. Now we're ready to look at holidays known in Spanish as días festivos. Días festivos. Repitan, por favor. Días festivos. Bien. Now, as you watch this video, think about what holidays you celebrate that are the same as these we'll be seeing, and also look for holidays which you don't celebrate. You'll also want to look for customs that are like yours and those that are different as well. Maybe after today's lesson, you can talk about these things with your teacher. Ahora vamos a ver el video Los días festivos. Pongan atención. Let's take a journey through the year to look at some of the most exciting things that happen in it. Holidays, known in Spanish as días festivos. El primer mes del año es enero. In Spanish-speaking countries, just like in the United States, the new year, el año nuevo, begins on the first day of this month. Almost everywhere, people have parties on December 31st called El Año Viejo, or the Old Year. They welcome the new year with family and friends. They often dance and eat very late suppers or cenas. In Spain and in Mexico, people have a toast and eat 12 grapes. Sometimes raisins are used in Spain as well. The grapes, or raisins, are symbols of each month of the new year. People make wishes or say prayers as they eat the grapes. January 6th is El Día de los Reyes. On this day, most boys and girls in Spanish-speaking countries get toys from Los Reyes, the three wise men, instead of Santa Claus, although some get presents from him too. Sometimes they put their shoes out so the three wise men will know where to leave their toys. In Mexico, people eat a special bread called La Rosca de Reyes. Inside, there is a little doll which represents baby Jesus. The person who gets the piece of bread with the doll in it has a party for everyone on February 2nd, a day we'll learn about in just a moment. In Spain, a similar bread called Roscón de Reyes is eaten too. A good luck charm is baked inside of it. El segundo mes del año es febrero. On February 2nd, people in Mexico are just finishing the traditional Christmas season. This day is called Candlemas in English, but it is not celebrated very much in countries where people speak English. It is La Candelaria in Spanish-speaking countries. Candles are lit, and dolls that represent Jesus are dressed. In Mexico, tamales are eaten traditionally on this day. On February 14th, people celebrate El Día de San Valentín. As you can see, it is celebrated much the same way people in the United States celebrate it. El tercer mes del año es marzo. Carnival, called Carnaval in Spanish, is celebrated during this month in preparation for Lent. People often wear masks, and there are parades in the streets. El cuarto mes del año es abril. La Pascua Florida, called Easter in English, often comes in this month, although it also comes in marzo or March as well. The whole week before Easter, called Semana Santa, is very important in Spanish-speaking countries. Often processions, which are like plays in the street showing the crucifixion of Christ, can be seen. The customs of painting Easter eggs and the Easter bunny are not usually seen in Spanish-speaking countries. Another important day is El Día del Niño. This is a day in which parents and grandparents, in fact all family members, celebrate children. They may take them out to buy them ice cream or toys, or if they're especially lucky, they may see a puppet show in one of the plazas, such as this one you're seeing here. El quinto mes del año es mayo. El Día de las Madres, called Mother's Day in English, is celebrated in this month, usually on the 10th of May, El 10 de Mayo. It's a very important day in Spanish-speaking countries. Here we can see a festival in a school in which the children are dancing El Baile de los Viejitos for their mothers. This is a funny dance. The children try to make themselves look like old people with their masks, their canes, and the way they walk. El sexto mes del año es junio. In this month, El Día del Padre, or Father's Day, is celebrated. El séptimo mes del año es julio. El octavo mes del año es agosto. El noveno mes del año es septiembre. Quite a few Spanish-speaking countries celebrate their Independence Day during this month. Here we can see the flags of two of those countries, Guatemala y México. El 10º mes del año es octubre. El 11º mes del año es noviembre. All Saints' Day, or El Día de Todos los Santos, is on November 1st. November 2nd is El Día de los Muertos, when people remember their friends and relatives who have died. This is done with altars, using sugar skulls and other candies, and visits to the cemetery. El 12º mes del año es diciembre. In many countries, the Christmas season begins with Las Posadas. People go from house to house asking for a place to stay, just as Mary and Joseph did in Bethlehem. They sing a chant and carry candles. When they are finally allowed to go in, there is a big party with lots of food, and there is usually a piñata too. Nochebuena is Christmas Eve, the biggest Christmas celebration of all. On this night, a figure representing baby Jesus is placed in the manger in the nacimiento, the elaborate manger scene found in many homes and in public places. Many people have a Christmas tree like this one, but in some hot tropical countries, people have artificial trees or they use other plants to make a Christmas tree. Every country has its own traditional Christmas dinner, which is usually eaten very late on Christmas Eve. In some countries, it is turkey cooked in the special way of the people who live there. In others, fish or other seafood dishes with special sauces are eaten. Fruits and special candies and sweets are eaten most places too. The word for Christmas in Spanish is La Navidad. On this day, most people rest with their families after the late Nochebuena celebration. Some people give gifts, but they are not as important in Spanish-speaking countries on Christmas as they are in the United States. Well, there you have it, todo el año. And these are just some of the more important holidays celebrated in most Spanish-speaking countries. There are many, many more, and most are celebrated in different and special ways in each country. Maybe someday you will get a chance to go to a Spanish-speaking country and see for yourself. I hope that you do get a chance to go to a Spanish-speaking country someday and see what holidays are like. Did you notice some holidays that you celebrate in your home? Did you see some that you don't celebrate? Maybe some of the ones that you do celebrate are celebrated very differently in your home, or maybe some of the customs you saw were the same. Let's think about that for a moment. Let's go to the first month of the year, enero. Here we see all of the symbols of the new year, el año nuevo, and this is a holiday that most people in the United States celebrate on January 1st as well, but not everyone does. When does your family celebrate the new year? What about El Día de los Reyes? Do the three kings come and leave you gifts in January? Let's go to the next month of the year, febrero. This is a holiday that all of us know about El Día de San Valentín, Valentine's Day, this is something that we have in common in the United States with most Spanish-speaking countries. But Candelaria, celebrated on the 2nd of February, is very different from what we usually see here in the United States, isn't it? The next month of the year is Marzo, and you notice here the symbol for St. Patrick's Day, celebrated widely in the United States. But you really wouldn't find this day being celebrated in Spanish-speaking countries. The next month, Abril, we see here Easter eggs, and Easter is widely celebrated in Spanish-speaking countries, but as you heard in the video, you probably wouldn't see Easter eggs like these. Do any of you celebrate El Día del Niño, Children's Day, in April? That's not very widely celebrated in the United States, is it? And what about this month here, Mayo? Do you have any holidays in this month? Mother's Day, something we have in common with Spanish-speaking countries, and also in Junio, Father's Day, something that we have in common with Spanish-speaking countries. But what about this month, Julio? We see here a flag because in the United States, people celebrate the 4th of July, but that day is not celebrated in Spanish-speaking countries because in Spanish-speaking countries, Independence Day falls in different months throughout the year, depending on what country you're talking about. What about Agosto? Do you celebrate holidays in that month? Some Spanish-speaking countries celebrate their Independence Day during that month. That's also true in this month, Septiembre. Many Spanish-speaking countries celebrate their Independence Day then. What about Octubre? We see a jack-o'-lantern here, but in most Spanish-speaking countries, Halloween is not celebrated. And what about Noviembre? We see a symbol of Thanksgiving here, but in most Spanish-speaking countries, you wouldn't find a Thanksgiving Day celebration during this month. Instead, you would find El Día de los Muertos, a day we talked about if you happen to watch our special holiday video on that. And then what about this last month, Diciembre? Many people in Spanish-speaking countries celebrate Christmas, but did you notice that Christmas celebrations were a little bit different than what we're used to here? And do all people in the United States celebrate Christmas? Do you celebrate Christmas in your home? Perhaps not. Not everyone here celebrates that holiday, right? It's interesting to see how people around the world celebrate different days during the year and think about how you celebrate them. I hope that you'll continue this discussion in your classroom to compare not only how most people in the United States celebrate holidays and people in Spanish-speaking countries, but even how just members of your classroom may do things the same or differently. Ahora, alumnos, la despedida. Por favor, canten la canción de despedida conmigo. Adiós, queridos amigos, que les vaya muy, muy bien. Adiós, queridos amigos, y cuídense también. Adiós, hasta luego.